is interesting. It sounds like, those frog scrapers, like the
Yep.
back of a wooden frog. It's like a bit of that inside a very wet, crisp, or you would say, crisp packet.
Hmm.
Um, Forgot what you call crisps. What do you call crisps?
Chips.
Chips. That's the fucker. Anyway,
That's yeah, what
I
you
knew
call
I knew it was
fries.
something wrong. Whatever it was something
Yes, of
wrong. But
course.
anyway,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another Friday episode of the Audiophiles. I'm Andy, that's John, and as mentioned, it's Friday today, which means that the episode will be devoted to a song suggested by one of you lovely listeners out there in the audience. Today, that lovely listener would be a one Nexus Archon 5358, the very best model of Nexus Archons. And they offered up to us on our Life is a Movie episode by the band Vundabar, another track by Vundabar. In this case, it is the song Beta Fish, which I believe will be the third Vundabar episode done on the channel. I'm quite familiar with the band. John is not, but he's becoming that because this will be his third go at listening to them. So John, are you up for listening to a little Beta Fish by Vundabar?
Just trying to remember. Life is a movie, and I can't remember the other one that we listened to.
It was off their Gawk album with the cartoon with the question mark.
Was
The
it
song was
Alien?
Alien Blues.
Yes, gotcha. Yeah, I
Yes.
remember it now.
Excellent,
I,
excellent.
I
So,
still see that thumbnail in my nightmares.
yeah,
Um,
exactly, exactly. Great. Well, I hope that means that you're up for giving them another go. Please go off, check out Beta Fish, and then swim on back and let us know your thoughts.
so listen to that. No, it clearly isn't. But let me just listen to that again. I really like that. So interesting start. You got this sort of chunky beat, bass sounding great, and it's almost got that almost like a scraper feel to the beat, but it's got messed around with some electronic stuff as well. Interesting sound. In comes a nice guitar part, and the tone of it, like the first half a second or something, I thought was almost like piano coming in, but just a really nice sounding guitar. And then the vocals come over the top, and they're sort of light, high range, almost falsetto. I don't know, but they're kind of three-quarter vocals of not is not belting it out, and it's kind of skimming over the top of the music. I'm thinking that's kind of sounding naughties ish. Um, and then it takes a turn, and we get this sort of new wavy, very American, late 70s, early 80s new wave, where the vocal melody matches the quirky guitar melody, and it's a bit sort of jerky and a bit sort of awkward, and it makes me think of kind of like a very tamed down version of Devo or sort of a crazy cats from that time. That all seemed to spring from the awkwardness of David Byrne. Loads of acts like that. Yeah, really, really daring though. And he was singing about. I got some of the beta fish jump, beta fish swim. There's something about fighting his reflection, finds reflection. I just want to listen to that bit again.
Beta fish jump, beta fish swim, beta fish bite his reflection. Beta fish jump, beta fish swish, beta fish fight his reflection, and lost. My.
Guessing that was the chorus. That was really nice. Big, expansive. So he's singing my. It's opening out. The guitar tone, again, it's a different guitar tone. So we had like 3 different ones so far. We've kind of had 3 different vocal performances as well. This one's, more expansive, and it's hitting the sort of red zone of his, not red zone, but the meaty part of his vocal range. And I liked how he delivered, like, it's how the days go by, but it's all spaced out while that guitar sounded lovely. So he says about he will try to dance himself alive. So the tone of this chorus seems to me like almost like hopefulness or release, like open up the windows or something like that. But the lyrics, you get the sense that he's trying to get where the music is. He's trying to get himself into that sort of state of, one of the better word, happiness. Yeah, really interesting. Sounded great. Sounded really good. Doubled. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. I liked how I didn't want to stop it, so I didn't comment, but I liked how the second verse, that initial guitar line came back, but it was doubled. It just sounded even better. And then during that verse, he kept repeating the line just a little bit, just a little bit. It was really hooky. And then we went into the chorus, but the second chorus again was much more meaty. There was this extra strumming, and the sound was becoming more saturated in terms of filling out. I think I couldn't without on first listen. I don't want to bring it back, but I think there was also maybe some synth lines in there, some keyboards, just bring up the vocal parts a bit more. And then we kind of went into the sister bit, sort of crossing between the verse and the chorus, where I was repeating that just a little bit again. Shake just a little bit, just a little bit, shake just a little bit. And that's quite interesting, that, because are we talking like dancing, or are we talking emotionally or physiologically as well? There's various things that can make you want to shake just a little bit. It could be fear, it could be trauma, it could be the groove. Yeah, that's a really hooky part as well. And then the new wavy voice came back in again. It was something to do with show me the rhythms or something. And then we just strum out for a bit to the end. Yeah, 340, shortish song, really interesting. I hugely preferred this over the previous one that I heard. This just seemed to work. It came together. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I will definitely be listening to this again. So let's find out some more about this song and whatever album it came from, etc. Let's go back and talk with Andy.
Oh, Vundabar, you're back. What did you make of Beta Fish?
Okay, I need to get this out of the way straight away. Every time I said, would you say beta or beta? But anyway, every time I said beta fish, I kept hearing Babel fish. From the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, I know.
It's really been
and of
living
course,
free in your head of late.
yeah, and as soon as you mention that, you have to mention the way it disproves the existence of God, and the argument goes something like this: "I refuse to prove I exist," says God. "For proof denies faith. Well, faith, I am nothing." But says man, the Babelfish is a dead giveaway, isn't it? It couldn't have evolved by chance, so it proves you exist. By your own arguments, you don't. QED. Oh dear, says God. I haven't thought of that, and promptly vanishes in a puff of logic. Oh, that was easy, says man. For an encore, goes on to prove that black equals white and gets himself killed at the next zebra crossing. Right, now we've got that out of the way. It's kind of like a Pavlovian thing. I have to do that every time I think of Babelfish.
Fair.
Anyway, it's wiped now, clean. So we start the song with a kind of strutting fat ass bass, augmented by some electronic chicanery. The beat is interesting. It sounds like, those frog scrapers, like the back of a wooden frog. It's like a bit of that inside a very wet, crisp, or you would say, crisp packet.
Mm-hmm.
Got what you call crisps. What do you call crisps?
Chips.
Chips. That's the fucker. Anyway,
That's what
I
you
knew
call
it was
fries.
something wrong. Whatever it was something
Yes,
wrong.
of course.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. And so yes, it's really nice, interesting sound. And then comes this guitar, which I had to just check because it has such a lovely tone. But for the first second, I thought it was like piano chords coming in.
Mm,
Well, obviously they're both hits, they're stringed instruments. Isn't
yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah, and the
You
piano
wouldn't be
is
the
string.
first to mistake the two, I'm sure.
But it was just really pure, and I was like, "Oh, it's a lovely piano chords coming." But it was this really nice sounding guitar. So straight away we have this very cool groove. And then in comes the singer with a very gentle, high range, perhaps falsetto voice, just almost like skimming over the top of the music. And I said in the reaction, this voice at this point is kind of like I'd call like a 3/4 voice. It's not a whisper or breathy, but it's not full tilt. boogie either. It's just quite within his means as it was. Um, then it changes. The voice changes to mimic the melody from the guitar, and this is a sack full of quirk. And it is very reminiscent of sort of that late 70s, early 80s American, particularly new wave sound, even down to the tone of his voice. And he gets, I'm going to rewound this bit. So beta fish jump, beta fish swim, beta fish bite his reflection, beta fish jump, beta fish swish, beta fish fight his reflection. So the overall effect here is one of this sort of jerky, awkward groove. And it kind of makes me think of well, the first thing that popped in my head was like a house trained version of Devo, sort of dampened down version of Devo, or someone a bit odd, like they might be Giants. But I
Yeah.
mean, I always go back to this. They're all bastard descendants of the very odd Mr. David Byrne, basically, who has that sort of weirdness and
Yeah.
that jerkiness and geekiness and all that. He's the granddaddy of that movement, really. But really, really enjoyable as well, this sound. And then we get another switcheroo, because that, I guess, is either a verse or a pre-chorus or whatever. And then we get these big open vocals and a cracking guitar line of, again, a different tone. So it's like the third guitar tone we've had so far, and also the third vocal style so far. This has, again, I'm getting like 80s all over the place, but this is like, I would say almost late 80s, that bright indie, like hopefulness. And he
Mm.
sings my, and then how the days go by. And I really like the way he spaces that out. I will try, dance myself alive. And it struck me, if this is the chorus, which I think it is, it feels like a release. And I often say about courses tend to be sort of big and elongated and all that, but this feels like it's like the windows are being opened or something like that. And the music gives this sense of ebullience, but I'm not sure about the lyrics. Um, it's almost like he's trying to make himself get to that state of happiness, which is suggested by the music, and that's a place for him to get to. And I'm trying to get there. That's my impression. We exit the chorus and we drop down to, again, that chunky knit beat. And back comes the guitar groove from before, but it's doubled in both channels, and it's sounding so much better for it. Sounds really nice. The singer's voice actually retains some of that tone from the chorus. So he's, singing full voice now, but he's not going mental. But yeah, and again, it sounds great. And there's a lovely sort of hooky thing he does where he keeps the end of lines put just a little bit, just a little bit. Um, um, and those lines, repeat towards the end, of the guitars kind of start to build and twist into something quite interesting at this point. And then we get another big chorus, this time with added meaty strumming. It's hard to discern because the track is now becoming really quite saturated with the sound. It's really, really thick at this point. But I think within that mix, there is also some keyboards that are bolstering the vocals. I suspect. I couldn't pin it down. I just had a feeling. And then the chorus flows into a sister section, I would say, where it keeps the same momentum, but he's changing some of the words. And it keeps going on, shake it up just a little bit, just a little bit, shake a little bit, just a little bit. And he repeats that like 3 or 4 times. I think it's really interesting at this point. It struck me that there could be a number of reasons for shaking, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'd go straight away to fear or trauma, both physical or psychological, or simply the groove of the song. Shake your tail feather. It's just really interesting. It could be any of those things.
Yeah.
Then after it's repeated a few times, we're going to another sort of little mini section, but this time that new wave voice returns, that quirkiness. And he says something about show me, I think it's show me where the rhythm goes, where the rhythm goes. Again, that's repeated a few times. He may sort of change it a little bit, but I did note it down. And then it's just like strumming out very briefly towards the end. So yeah, I was 3:40 or whatever, seemed quite short, this song. I really, really enjoyed this. More than the other Vundabar tracks I had heard. It just really hit with me. I thought it was really interesting. And just to reference a song we've been speaking about, which was 3 times longer than this, but was patchworked in bits and different sections. And that's normally something that can quite annoy me. But this is a perfect example of a song flowing from one bit into the other. And it all made sense when each bit's changed, seamless as well. And so it just completely worked for me, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you did. And I'm sure that Nexus Archon 5358 is happy to hear that as well. Yeah, man, I love these guys. They're a really, really good band. Let's get into them. I'm not going to go too deep into them because, we've mentioned, there's 2 other episodes devoted to these guys, which does mean we will get a playlist drummed up here in the near future with all 3 tracks on it. But I'll touch a little bit on them, and then I'll get more into this album, which we've already, spoiler alert, kind of discussed a bit. So, as we've noted in the past, on our Alien Blues and Life is a Movie episode, Vundabar is an American indie rock band from Boston, Massachusetts. Good old massholes. The band consists of Brandon Hagen on vocals and guitar, Drew McDonald on drums and synthesizer, and Zach Abramo on bass. Their musical style is described as indie rock with elements of post-punk, jangle pop, and surf rock. All music describes their style as jangly, fuzzed out math and surf tinged indie rock shot through with plenty of post punk spirit. I think that covers all the genres just alluded to. As influences, the band named Dick Dale. Singer Brandon Hagen also named the OCs. Bassist Zach Ambramo named electronic music such as Burial. And drummer Drew McDonald named Tame Impala. On their first 3 albums, Vundabar mainly played their music on guitar, bass, and drums. But on their albums, Either Light and Devil for the Fire, they also used synthesizers, electronic drum sounds, and other instruments like piano or omnichord. From 2013 to 2025, the band has released 6 studio albums in total. Prior to the release of their most recent album, Surgery and Pleasure, and starting in 2024, Vundabar released several singles, including Spades, Life is a Movie, and several versions of I Got Cracked. All the singles were were then included in Surgery and Pleasure, which was ultimately released on March 7th of this year. This track, Beta Fish, is the second track on Surgery and Pleasure following the album's opening track, Life is a Movie. Reviewing the album for Paste magazine, Matt Mitchell wrote the following. Vundabar have promised a Back to Basics 180 on Surgery and Pleasure, a project the band themselves have called a fusion of old school Vundabar energy with a newfound muscularity and slickness. The 11 songs here are grown up and in widescreen, detached from the trendiness of Alien Blues, which now has nearly 657 million streams on Spotify alone. But not totally rid of the restlessness that torched Vundabar's first 3 studio releases. While the album doesn't quite capture the raw, cathartic, left-behind triumphs of Gawk or Smell Smoke, the songcraft is righteously upscaled from The Devil for the Fire. Some of the songs even flash like proper Either Light successors, adding much needed expanse to an early firm anchor of brassy, crushing guitar kicks. And of this track, he would add, Beta Fish is contagiously bright, as Hagen and bassist Zach Ambramo take turns boosting the rhythm out of robotic monologues. Suddenly, an industrialized post-punk intro collapses into a panging capstone of dream pop, singing stacks on top of singing, and the chanting 90 seconds that sew up Beta Fish are undoubtedly the best 90 seconds on the album. Over at Flood magazine, writer Leah Johnson reviewed Surgery and Pleasure and wrote, approachable and infectious, Surgery and Pleasure viciously pushes back as much as it propels forward. The songs swivel in circles and say a lot of the same things, but the echoes don't feel as pessimistic as they have in the past. They act as declarations delivered with conviction and a sense of liberation. Although the songwriting tends to feel reprised, the trio operate once again on an incredible flare of percussive fulfillment and stabby guitar riffs. And Tony Elton of New Noise magazine had this to say in her review of the album. Sonically, the album brings in elements inspired by the dance and electronic genre that's absent from previous releases. The use of a drum machine at times, as well as the intricate layering within the album's production, guides the sound into a more artistic realm with guitar riffs that strike through in a sharp, angular fashion, vocals that bring attention to the contrast of light and dark, and bass lines that add vibrancy with a comforting wash of colors. It's clear that production was thoroughly considered element when constructing the record, which has allowed the band to achieve a new level of artistry. And she would end her review noting Surgery and Pleasure, both in its final sonic form as well as its poignant lyrical content, showcases what it feels like to be alive and to be in love, even when it feels like everything has fallen apart. It's about relationships being mended, about picking up the pieces after your world has shattered. It's about resilience. It's a masterful showcase of how music keeps us alive and connected, and how it keeps us going. So, these lyrics. Show me where the rhythm goes, where the rhythm goes. Show me where the rhythm goes. Rhythm goes right. Show me where the rhythm goes, where the rhythm goes. Show me where the rhythm goes out in the night. Beta fish jump, beta fish swim, beta fish bite his reflection. Beta fish jump, beta fish swish, beta fish fight his reflection and lost. My, how the days go by. I will try, dance myself alive. The three little angels at my door. Just a little bit, just a little bit. And I know why, but not what for. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Tell me what you've come here for. Just a little bit, just a little bit. And I've got mine, but I want more. Just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. My, apple of my eye. I will try, dance myself alive. I need to shake just a little bit, just a little bit. Shake a little bit, just a little bit. I'll shake a little bit, just a little bit. Shake just a little bit, just a little bit. I'll shake a little bit, just a little bit. Shake just a little bit, just a little bit. I'll shake a little bit, just a little bit. Shake just a little bit, just a little bit. Oh, show me where the rhythm goes, where the rhythm goes. Show me where the rhythm goes right. Show me where the rhythm goes, where the rhythm goes. Show me where the rhythm goes out in the night. So, according to lead singer Brandon Hagen, the song is a metaphor for his mental health during the process of accepting his father's death. I also know my fiance's former boss was a huge fish collector. She had aquariums all throughout her LA home of these really interesting tropical fish. And the beta fish, I think the way it's spelled is two T's. I don't know if he's having fun with it, like what beta is to alpha, so therefore he just changed it a little bit, but it's Betta fish. I think they're also called like the Siamese fighting fish, but they're not large, but they are wildly aggressive fish, and territorial and protective and when hungry, ravenous. So I don't know if that's if like he's correlating, like if he's making himself to be the beta fish here, like this act first, think second kind of character that's maybe rash and fights himself at times, like he described the fish as having done when seeing its own reflection. But I thought that was interesting. So yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
So I think they're commonly not these fish, but in popular culture, they would be referred to as Japanese fighting fish. And it would be one of those cliches from the 70s to describe a hard but complicated man who's probably an ex special forces and a bit of a killer. He'd always have a tank with Japanese fighting fish and explain that, they have to be on their own because they're too dangerous to be with other people, which is why he always leaves her bedroom before sunlight, before the sun risen. It's that kind of cliche thing, and then
Right,
he
right,
jumps
right.
into his full capri, and it'd be one of those things, and people from like doing spoof stuff for those sort of like in this country would be like the professionals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cody and Doyle would be those sort of characters, and they were spoofing with their Japanese fighting fish. Always would be in a scene as a sort of nod to that nonsense.
Right,
This
right.
sort
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
definition of machismo. I'm too dangerous to be been with
Which
any
is
other
which is
fighting
funny
fish.
because those guys now refer to themselves as alpha. But here
Yeah,
they are as kind of like it's really you're just beta. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
that's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, an interesting and it really interesting song. I'm glad that you liked it as much as you did. And
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
mentioned, it comes right after Life is a Movie on that 2025 album. I think back when we listened to this, that album hadn't even dropped yet. Like I knew it was going to be a single on it when it was released, but I think at this point it was still a single that had been released, but the album on
yeah.
which it would eventually feature had not yet. So here's a glimpse into the follow-up track on that album. If having heard those two are, an indicator that maybe you should at least digitally check it out
Yeah, yeah.
and download it or something, that'd be, I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about the other tracks. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of these guys. I'm really glad that you liked this one as well. And Archon, let's get this name right again. I'm sorry here. Nexus Archon 5358. Excellent choice, man. I'm really glad that you threw this our way. I'm glad that John liked it as much as he did. I'm glad I had an excuse to talk about this band again and listen to this track. So it was a really good album of 2025. So shout out to you for offering this one up. John, thanks again for giving this a go. And
My pleasure.
folks out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you've made of this now third dalliance into Vundabar. If you've listened to the other stuff or this, if you have a preference, if there's other stuff by these guys that we should check out, feel free to drop it down in the comments below, or any other band for that matter. If you're watching this wondering, well, how the hell have they gotten two Vundabar tracks on here out of recommendation? Well, those two came from lovely listeners like you. So if you've got a track by a band that you desperately want us to check out, we will add it to our list. If only one of us has heard it, it'll make the cut. If both of us have, there's no point in doing a reaction to it. If you shout it out, though, I'm sure both of us will chime in with our opinion on it if we've heard it before. But if not, like I said, it'll make it to the list and we'll check it out on a future Friday episode. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. Goes a long way to help us over here. The channel only costs you a couple clicks and seconds of your time, and we will forever be in your pocket for having done so. So thank you so much. All that out of the way, hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.